I can't think of anybody, any situation that would want her to take her life. It doesn't make sense.
This is Mark Sievers, who appears utterly devastated following a gruesome incident at his residence in Bonita Springs, Florida. His 46-year-old wife, Teresa Sievers, was found dead on June 29, 2015. Detectives launched a frantic search for clues that might lead to a suspect, but were initially unsuccessful. However, the case had a breakthrough when the detectives found a piece of critical evidence that led them to one of the suspects.
Are you the kind of person who is a monster and randomly kills people? Or are you the kind of person who has had a hard life and has their best friend begging them to do something they shouldn't have done?
Just as the case seemed to be nearing its conclusion, it unfolded into something far more tangled, revealing a web of involvement more complex than anyone had anticipated.
Jimmy Rodgers and I physically did it, but Mark Sievers was also involved in the planning.
The Sievers family had gone on vacation to Connecticut, but on June 28, 2015, Teresa Sievers, a doctor by profession, cut the trip short and returned home alone to see her patients the next morning, completely unaware of the tragic fate that awaited her. The following morning, when Teresa failed to show up at the hospital, one of her coworkers called her husband, Mark Sievers, to inform him. Unable to get in touch with Teresa himself, Mark asked his friend, Mark Petritz, to check on her. Upon arriving at the residence, Petritz stumbled into a nightmare and immediately called 911.
911, what is your emergency?
I'm at a friend's house. He's out of town, and I came here to check on his wife, and she's dead on the floor. And there's a hammer at the side, and she's bashed in the back of the head.
When the investigators arrived at the scene, they found the house disrupted and initially suspected a burglary gone wrong. However, the case would soon prove to be far more complicated, unfolding the dark secrets of a seemingly happy family. As the investigation progressed, the detectives located Mark Sievers at his home, who had returned by this time from his vacation. Without delay, they took him into custody for further questioning.
Do you have any reason to believe that he was engaged in a relationship with anyone else?
No.
Do you have any reason to believe that was engaging in any kind of activity with anyone else?
No.
Were there any calls at odd hours of the night, any kind of phone calls and hang-ups, any kind of weird text messages in the middle of the night, or any hours that wouldn't normally be receiving calls? Because I know some people are religious about dinner time, no one calls them.
No, because she's a doctor. She get calls all the time. It could be the ER. Usually they call me. But they can call her. We both get crazy text messages or voice messages from people, telemarketers calling our cell phones.
Sure.
She's never left the room to make a call, never took a call in another room. I mean, if it was because we're too noisy,
Okay.
We're open.
Have you ever had an issue in the past with any infidelity in your marriage that you're aware of?
No.
Have you ever cheated on your wife?
I've never cheated on her, and she's never cheated on me.
Have you ever had anyone have an unhealthy obsession with either you or your wife or your kids or anything?
I absolutely can't think of anybody that would have been fit a bill with that at all.
All of the types of risky behaviors or things that cause people to make permanent choices to temporary situations that could lead up to something like this. I'm trying to look at any behavior caused by you or your spouse, any people around you.
I've been wrapping my brain around this since Monday morning.
Mm-hmm. I figure you think about it all the time.
I can't think of anybody, any situation that would want her to take her life. It doesn't make sense.
Did you guys...
Or me or my daughter. I can't think of anything.
What about your finances, your normal checking, savings, all of that? How are you guys doing? Are you guys okay?
We're okay. We're not rich. We have a business, and we run whatever we can through our business. And at the end of the year, it comes out as personal income, but it's not something we can keep track of what we spend that way.
Right.
Like the necklace I bought her. So when she went away for a TV show in April, I used my business card for that. At the end of the year, it gets classified as they call it some allocation, and it comes off our personal, but it's something that we can run through all the stuff to the business for easier trackability of what we're spending and what we're doing. So we have credit card debt for the business, and then I have money in the bank account to pay the credit card debt and keep it going back and forth.
So you're constantly in the cycle of that. Okay. But, all right. So do you live month to month? Or are you guys good for 6 months if she was unemployed? Or are you good for a year?
Oh, my God.
How stable are you?
I understand that now. One of the safes has cash in it.
Okay. How much?
About $40,000.
Okay. And
that's like our nest egg.
Okay.
We have some money in the bank. I think we are basically month by month that we basically live.
Okay.
We have that 40 grand, we put it there, we just don't touch it.
Right.
You know?
It's just like a what if situation. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to upset you by saying what if.
You're not. I mean, it's my wife. Fine.
You're doing a good job. Do you have life insurance on yourself, or the kids, or do you have life insurance?
We have no life insurance on the children.
Okay.
We talked about it for years, haven't done it.
Yeah.
I have life insurance on myself. They asked me about that at the funeral home. Mm-hmm. I completely forgot about life insurance.
How much do you have on you?
2.5
million?
Yes.
And how much do you have?
I have to look. I have to call him. I actually spoke to Frank this morning, like our surrogate dad. He has all the records. I think it's going to be...
Excuse me. Say that again. And what relation to you guys?
He's like a surrogate father. He is amazing man. He has a wealth finance company.
He's insurance? Okay.
No, he's wealth. I mean, they talked, lectured together. He's like her daughter. She's like his daughter. Father's Day cards, that kind of thing, and go swimming together. And so her dad died a few years ago, and
so he's definitely.
They have such a loving environment. Right. They adopted our daughters. You know, their surrogate granddaughters.
Sure.
And he would have all that information.
Does he also? Do you guys have a personal accountant? Or someone, you said, or is he the one that helps you with like your taxes?
He helped us with that. He helped us get an accountant that we have to in the this morning. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And he goes, well, you got to do the life insurance. I go, I don't. You have that stuff, you know. So he's going to go through that stuff and do what has to be done.
Throughout the interview, Mark presents himself as a grieving husband, expressing guilt over not being able to save Teresa's life. He describes their relationship as perfect and insists he can't imagine anyone who would want to hurt her. However, when the detective questions Teresa's sister, Annie Lisa, she contradicts Mark's portrayal of a flawless marriage, hinting at underlying tension and possible emotional manipulation, prompting investigators to question the sincerity of his grief.
Couldn't no longer rely on Mark for anything. It sounded like she was at the end of a rope. She never said, I'm going to get divorced. Mm-hmm. She never, but you can hear in her voice that she was in a place with Mark where she really felt like, I can't even rely on him for the bare essentials. Someone to take care of my girls. Teresa made it known to Mark that divorce would not be an option, but how the hell am I going to live with you? You're driving me crazy. I also know that she came to a place where she told me, and I believe she told Mark, I'm no longer afraid to get divorced.
This statement unveiled Mark's hideous personality, something Teresa's family was already aware of, suggesting that Mark's remorse was merely a facade to manipulate the detective. But this was not the only factor adding to the detective's suspicion. Another shocking revelation begins to emerge. Although Mark claimed he knew nothing about the details of Teresa's life insurance policy, a potential clue contradicted his statement. Before Teresa's death, he had confided significant information about the policy amount to Teresa's brother, Frank. Teresa's sister discloses this to the detectives, giving them even more reason to consider Mark a prime suspect in Teresa's murder.
Who is a man who is on top of numbers,
mm-hmm.
and that's his thing. You don't forget a number like that. So then when I finally find out, and I believe it was my brother Frank, that it was $5 million, I said, what? How the hell could he say, I have no idea? You could say, well, I know it's a lot, at least $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have no idea when it's $5 million. So when Mark told Frankie it was $5 million, my brother Frank said, "Oh, so you checked with the insurance policy and you found out?" And Mark said, "No, I always knew it was $5 million."
This potential lead was exactly what the detectives had been searching for, as they suspected it could be a motive for Teresa's killing. Nevertheless, lacking solid evidence to arrest Mark, they continue to search for clues that would bring the case to a definitive conclusion. However, on July 9th, 2015, the case received a breakthrough. Detectives follow a lead that results in the arrest of Curtis Wayne Wright and Jimmy Rodgers in Missouri. Curtis and Mark had been childhood friends, and interestingly, they shared an uncanny resemblance, so much so that they often used to refer to each other as brothers. Meanwhile, Jimmy and Curtis had been Facebook friends, linking all three men in a web of suspicion. When both suspects are brought into custody, Jimmy refuses to talk without an attorney present, while Curtis willingly agrees to speak with the detectives.
When was the last time you went to see Mark?
Well, I don't know exactly when it was, but I'm thinking maybe like 5 or 6 months, maybe.
So January-ish.
So, yeah.
January, February-ish. 2015 then.
So,
right?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the setup between January then and the funeral trip. Did you make any other trips to Florida?
No.
Okay. So before Tuesday, June 30th,
because he came up for the
wedding. So yeah. All right. So Mark saw you in May, right?
Yes.
You're saying your wedding.
Yeah.
Okay. So May, June. Now we're in June. At the end of June, on June 30th, you traveled to Florida for the funeral, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Same trip. Yeah.
Sure. No problem. All right. So let's just go back. Help me out here. What's your timeline? Let's go back Monday the 29th. What did you do that day?
Well, that weekend was one of the weekends that I was down for the weekend pretty much. Angie worked.
What do you mean down? Like pain?
Hurting, yeah.
So you stayed in bed all weekend?
Well, not all weekend. I was up. I was trying to do things around the house.
Sure.
I just didn't feel like really doing.
What was getting you the most?
Yeah, my shoulders.
The shoulders?
So,
and the hips?
Yeah. So I couldn't really do any bending over work or reaching up work or anything like that. So I tried to get caught up on some stuff on the computer. But it was one of the days, I can't remember if it was Sunday or Monday, I worked on, I also do some car work too. I help people with stuff. And
like, you physically do mechanic work?
Yeah. My dad was a mechanic.
Oh, cool. So you actually got the mind of the engineer. Nice.
But I have a friend that bought one of those little, it's from Japan, they call them mini cab trucks.
Okay.
And they use them like in factories and stuff. He bought one that he was going to use for his farm, and it's a little 4-wheel drive truck. It's a little pickup truck.
Right.
And but it's got a little 3-cylinder Mitsubishi engine in it. And and the steering wheel's on the wrong side.
Awesome.
So it's one right off the street in Japan. So
cool. How did you get that?
I don't know.
That's neat.
Craigslist probably.
Yeah, that's neat. Yeah.
But he bought it, and it started running really bad right after he got it. And,
right.
And so he's asked me to look at it, and I had checked it out. He said that he thought I blew a head gasket and put a bunch of stop leak in it, and it helped for just a little bit, and then he got it out on the road and opened it up, and then it blew whatever it was out of it. So then, so I had been looking at that.
So that was on Sunday? Or Monday?
Well, I had been working on it prior to the weekend even, so Thursday and Friday.
So Thursday and Friday you were working on it?
I was hurting on Friday. So, but I was still doing it. Anyway, so I started to pull the spark plugs out of it. I was going to pull the head off of it, and because I figured it's a blown head gasket, and because of what it was doing, it's blowing air into the radiator, into the fluid. It's building up pressure even before it's hot. And so I'm figuring, okay, it's got a blown head gasket. I'm not, do you want to fix it right, or do you want to just patch it.
Right.
And so
what you guys do?
Well, that's what I was working on. So I was looking for a manual for it, a repair manual. Is what I was looking on the computer for. And but I found some stuff anyway on what the best way to do it is, because this engine, there is no hood. The engine is under the seats. So both the seats are raised up, but you can only get to it from like two sides under the seat. So I'm like, oh, how in the world? It's about this close to the top of the bottom of the seat. So it's like, okay, so can I even get the head off of it from there?
Yeah.
And then if I have to pull the engine, it's not coming out the top. So what's involved in dropping?
What a pain in the rear.
So anyway, like I said, I wasn't feeling well. I didn't mess with it much. But on whatever day that was, I think it was Friday, or maybe been Saturday morning.
As Curtis recounts every detail from his last encounter with Mark to the day of the incident, his eagerness to assist seems genuine. However, the detective can't ignore one troubling fact. Curtis had previously told him that he helped Mark set up the surveillance cameras at his home, the same cameras that were mysteriously turned off before Teresa's murder. This detail heightens the detective's suspicion as it hints at possible foreknowledge or involvement. Leaning forward, the detective presses Curtis again about the timeline, but it won't be long before Curtis unknowingly gives the detective exactly what he needs.
Is June 27th, and you were working in the morning. You went through hell with these damn tools, and then you called it a day, because by that point, your hips, your shoulders were hot. It was hot. Enough is enough, especially that kind of frustration. I've been there. You want to explode it. You want to blow it up. So then, Sunday, did you do anything? Sunday, June 28th.
Yeah, Angie worked Sunday.
Where'd she work?
She works at Nicoletti's.
Is that a restaurant?
A real nice restaurant.
Sounds like it would be good food. Is it Italian?
Yeah, they've been there 27 or 29 years.
Wow.
That they have themselves. So
their family.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet it's good.
It's some of the best.
What do you get?
Italian food. I like the chicken. What is it? The marsala, the one with the red sauce. I get that one and the Parmesan mixed up. One's got white, one's got red.
Parmesan's the red sauce. The Marsala's the wine, that brown wine.
Yeah, I like the Parmesan one.
The mozzarella cheese and the red sauce. Yeah, it's good.
But just pretty much everything they have. They have like a Cajun pasta too.
Really?
It's really good. And
how far away is that from here?
They're really well known for their steaks, and I'm not a big steak eater. So,
right.
But I've seen them bring them out. I mean, they're like that big and that thick, and it's like,
wow.
Oh my God.
Sounds impressive. How far away is that from here?
40 minutes maybe.
Oh, so she's got like a 40-minute drive to work?
Yeah. But she only works Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Okay.
And Sunday she picked up Sunday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday she gets to do her chores and get caught up.
And then she tries to, go up and Bryson's been acting out a lot here the last, really, poor kids.
Yeah.
But
seeing the sister in the hospital, mom's gone.
Well, this was before Kaylin went in the hospital. So, but we've been trying to keep Bryson more. We'll go get him for a couple days.
Sure.
Just to try to help his grandma out.
Well, yeah. Well, does Kathy work too?
No.
Okay, so she's retired, or she's still?
Well, she does hairdressing, and I think she still does a little on the side. But
what city is Nicoletti's in? Do you remember?
I know exactly where it is, but I'm not sure what city it is. It's if it's not Baldwin, it's right on the edge. It could be Valley Park, or it could be Baldwin. They kind of all come together right there. It's right at the corner of Big Bend and 141. The best Cuban I ever got Cuban sandwich was at Ybor.
Absolutely. There's a hole in the wall place. I can't remember the name of it, but it's outstanding.
Yeah.
And they even have a front restaurant part, and then they have a back way in where it's bar top to you, and you can go in there entertainer style. But inside in the front, yeah, Tampa's got a lot of cool history too, especially with their restaurants and their Burns Steakhouse, and they have the secret passageways for all the dignitaries, and they have a wine cellar underneath it.
Really?
Very impressive.
Wow.
I've never been, I've only heard, and then upstairs is a dessert bar. Sounds amazing.
Wow.
I've never been, yeah. It's where presidents go to eat, places like that, they have the passageways, so it's neat. Alright, so, just backtracking. Tuesday, June 30th, Scott Sievers calls you about, was killed the day before.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was Monday or Tuesday, but I think it was in the it was in the morning, so it probably had to have been Tuesday.
Okay.
So
And then so going back to your Monday, what did you do that Monday? Because you said Sunday you just
I was at
stayed
home. I was at home on Monday.
So Monday you were at home.
I know Monday I was at home. So.
Monday you were at home. Sunday you were at home. Saturday you were at home in the afternoon, but in the morning you were at Chris Taylor's not shed, his shop.
It's
a body shop.
It's a little.
Curtis remains persistent in his claims of having no involvement in the murder, believing he can manipulate the detective by controlling the narrative and evade the irreparable consequences of his actions. However, he's unaware that the detective has already gathered crucial evidence directly contradicting everything he's said.
I know you know more than that, okay? Listen, you have been through a lot in your life, and you are newly married, and I understand your loyalty to your husband, but I want you to understand something. Depending on how things go, and facts and truths, there's things called principal, there's things called accessory, after the fact, and things of that nature. You know what happened. Just tell me what you do know for fact. Is that Wayne took a trip somewhere?
He went on a business trip, he said, yes.
Yeah, where did he take a business trip to?
He said he was going to, I forgot the name of the town. It's in Florida, but on the other side of Florida.
Where was he going to Florida? What was the business trip for?
He does auction stuff with Jerry Lubinsky. And Jerry has Titusville. That's where.
Business trip for auctions with Jerry Lubinsky in Titusville?
Mm-hmm.
You understand I'm going to talk to Jerry Lubinsky, right?
That's fine. I mean, I don't know. I'm just telling you what...
I know you know more than that, okay?
Angela Wright, Curtis Wayne's wife, shared details about her husband's whereabouts at the time of Teresa's death, which directly contradict Curtis's version of events. Additionally, the detective reached out to Jerry Lubinsky, who confirmed that he did not meet Curtis during that time. Until now, the detective had been listening to Curtis's account without questioning it. But now, armed with these contradictions, the detective prepares for an intense confrontation to uncover the truth Curtis has been desperately hiding.
From my understanding with everything we talked about, I'm just confirming, we went over it, we confirmed it. You were home in Missouri all this weekend leading up to the homicide of Teresa Sievers, and you did not go down there until hearing from Scott. Did Mark ever call you or just Scott?
I didn't talk to Mark till we got down there. But I couldn't get a hold of him that first day. I don't think that I talked to him. I may have talked to him.
Right. And that would be documented on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the Samsung?
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, I want to ask you, because once you understand something, I'm here from Florida, which means there's things I know, and I'm here to provide you an opportunity now to explain yourself. A lot of questions I ask, I already know answers to. So what I want to submit to you, because you're obviously highly intelligent, is I know you use more than one phone, number one. Okay?
Okay.
Follow me here. I know you do. I know this as a fact. How we want to go from here is really simple. You're not a bad guy at all. That's obvious. You prioritize your children. You work hard. You provide for them. That shows what kind of person you are. However, I believe Mark Sievers involved you in something that he never should have. Some ideas and thoughts and plans that never should have happened. And as a result, we now have someone who's dead. So I don't just come up to Florida on a whim. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So between the phones, the rental cars, GPS, the locations, text messages from another mother, you know what I'm talking about. It's very unfortunate. But either way, here we are. So what I want to ask you is, are you the kind of person who is a monster and randomly kills people, or are you the kind of person who has had a hard life and has their best friend begging them to do something they shouldn't have done, or they may not have done directly, but they should not have helped plan it or be involved in it at all?
Neither.
What kind of person are you?
I'm not that person.
Wayne, here's the deal. In Florida, we have different degrees of homicide. We have first degree premeditated homicide, where we can actually show planning went into it. People intentionally went out of their way to set up communications with each other out of the sight of the normal public, as well as law enforcement. Then people made travel arrangements that were convenient, and then people made other travel arrangements that were convenient, so they thought, and then they go to a house, they take someone's life, and then they make it look a certain way, but then the police aren't stupid enough to believe it, and then we find the evidence during cleanup, when people are repositioning things and trying to make things go a certain way. So, through all of that, and then independent information from other people, further research, and what's crazy is the amount of cameras in the world now in neighborhoods that you can't ever really plan for unless you literally stalk out a neighborhood, as well as the corner gas stations, and then all the tags and license plate readers because of federal government, Big Brother type. So it all kind of comes together, and through a lot of painstaking hours, we're able to present a picture and show who's involved. So again, I want to ask you, before I move forward without your side of the story, what kind of person are you?
The detective skillfully narrows the scope of the conversation by reminding Curtis that the lies he's telling can be easily disproven, as everything is documented on his phone. Additionally, the detective employs a powerful strategy by shifting the blame to Mark, which encourages Curtis to accept a lesser moral burden. This tactic reduces his inner conflict and increases the likelihood of a confession, or at least an emotional breakdown. Despite the mounting evidence against him, Curtis continues to maintain his innocence. Yet these discrepancies aren't the only factors fueling the detective's suspicion. And instead, he's also uncovered another crucial lead from Jimmy Rodgers' girlfriend, Taylor Shoemaker, one that shifts the entire trajectory of the investigation.
I asked him what he went down there for, and he said to make money. And then asked him how does he make money, and it was murdering Mark's wife.
Okay. Who is Teresa Sievers?
Yeah.
The doctor?
Yes.
Okay. And did he say how he murdered her?
With a hammer.
And why do you think he would use a hammer?
Jimmy.
Is that his weapon of choice? Or?
Yes.
From what you were telling me, do they call him the hammer? He calls himself the hammer, or what's?
Everybody calls him Jimmy the Hammer. All of his friends back home.
And you had indicated to me that's because that's his weapon of choice whenever he has to do something?
Yes. I said, did you shoot her? And he said, no. And I said, then how'd you kill her? And he made a stupid little chuckle that he does, and then said with a hammer.
You said with a hammer?
Yeah.
The detectives discovered that on the morning of June 27, 2015, Curtis rented a car in Hillsboro, Missouri, picked up Jimmy, and drove over 1,000 miles to Bonita Springs, Florida. They tracked the route using GPS logs and confirmed it with surveillance footage showing the pair stopped at a gas station along the way. The next morning, June 28th, both Curtis and Jimmy were captured again on CCTV at a local Walmart near the Sievers residence, where they purchased trash bags, wet wipes, black towels, and a lock-picking kit, items that raise immediate red flags. Armed with this evidence, the detective prepares to confront Curtis, offering him a final opportunity to come clean and reveal the truth.
Wait, I understand the logic in it.
Wait, I have your own family putting you driving down to Florida in a rental car and leaving your phone behind, which I know you have another phone. So you left that phone behind because you knew if something like this happened, we would look at your phone records. But we can look at multiple phone records, just so you understand. Technology has evolved to the point of where the public doesn't know everything, and that movie weird that you see, that you think that isn't real, it has become real. And the cool part is through federal task force and agencies and resources, little guys like me at a sheriff's office get to touch those things because the feds want to be able to have their hand in it. So there's all kinds of stuff I know, which has led me here. And I brought a SWAT team to your house for a reason, okay? So, again, the best thing I've ever seen from my experience in working these cases is when people get in front of it and say, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking straight, I didn't mean to do that. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have done it, or I would have done it, and here's why. Because they did this to me. And that should have never happened. Or they did this to my loved one, and they should have never done that, and I made it right. Or maybe that's not the circumstance. So I want to ask you again, listen, are you the kind of guy who helps plan a cold-blooded, premeditated homicide that deserves to have a needle with a lethal injection put in their arm, or old Sparky electric chair, or are you the kind of person that got involved because of a best friend and his lack of maturity and life choices had him in a failing marriage that he was about to be booted out of, but conveniently there was a lot of life insurance money and it worked out?
My understanding was that, those two were an incredible couple.
They were. However, their passion, because both of them are so passionate people, it didn't work out. As wonderful as a lady as she was, from what I understand, she was and not just upfront to patients. That patient has to deal with her for a limited window, 15 minutes to an hour and a half of their day. Because like you said, she took the extra time. She cared enough to help people, and she kind of worked people one way or the other. Like, this is crazy, or I love it. She changed my life, and I'm going to come back to her because she's real. However, they don't live with Teresa. To live day in and day out and have someone break your balls about how little cleaning you do, how screwed up your office is, how your paperwork's building up, how dirty the damn house is. What do? What is your purpose, Mark? You raise the kids, that's great. I love that because you are Mr. Mom and you'd be hard to replace, but about to kind of go a different path and take her show on the road, get her own TV show, turn her business into a traveling practice after she met other co-workers out in the field that did the same thing and she saw how well they were doing. She said, this is real. We're already homeschooling them. All I got to do is get out of my house and get out of this business, which they were close to doing. But part of that, I think she was about to get out of Mark too. Because as wonderful as a father is, that's fine. I think you do, because Mark and you are best friends and you talk all the time, which I have records to prove.
Yeah, we do.
You're aware of all that. Mark and were very much Magellans, and they explored and they experimented and did all kinds of things. And I know you knew about that too.
We don't talk about his...
Mark talking about that very easily. He loves talking about the different girls that he likes him to go out and bed. He said that to me himself.
Okay.
You're his boy. You're his best friend. You know this stuff. Well, here, let me lay it out for you. Because this is where we're going. Your own wife puts you out of town when you said you're in bed all weekend. I know you were out of town. You know why I know you're out of town? Because I have records to prove it. But then I have the corroboration of your own wife, okay? Who actually thought she was covering for you and lied about how you went to Titusville.
I was supposed to go down there.
But you didn't. You went somewhere else.
No, I mean, I told you I was planning to go down. I'd been
Yes, you were planning, but you weren't feeling well, so you stayed home is what you said. I stayed in my neighborhood. I didn't leave Missouri. That's a lie. You do a little twitch and you give yourself away when you do. So this is what I'm asking you. Are you the kind of person that helped plan the cold-blooded murder, or did you get wrapped up in something that you didn't mean for to happen, and you were there to talk to someone and explain to them how they need to appreciate your friend and make better life choices, and then she came at you and things just unfolded?
No, nothing like that happened.
As the detective lays out the evidence, Curtis's body language abruptly shifts. His gaze drops, indicating the calm demeanor he's been upholding is beginning to crack. The detective urges him to tell the truth, but he remains adamant in his denials, unaware that all his efforts are futile.
Why were you down there in Bonita Springs?
I wasn't.
Where were you at?
This is obvious that I thought I was coming here to help you.
You are helping me.
So,
where did you go in Florida?
I guess I'm done talking. You don't have to believe
I'll be quiet.
That I'm telling
I'll be quiet. Tell me then.
I'm done.
You're done what?
I'm done talking then, I guess.
So you want to let your DNA and fingerprints tell the story then?
Yeah.
Okay, and the photographs of you? Yes or no?
If there's photographs, yeah.
And GPS?
So,
okay.
I mean,
we can do that. Listen, I traveled from Florida, and I want to clarify. If I'm done, because you continue to engage me and talk, will you continue to talk to me or not? Do you want me to be quiet and listen to your explanation?
No, there is no explanation. So, no, I can't. I thought I was here to help you, and
you were
to give you information, and that's why I was more than happy to do that. But
where were you that week?
You obviously believed that I had something to do with this, and
tell me you didn't.
There's no. I told you I didn't. I don't know anything about this.
Do you really believe?
I was at home on Monday when they called.
Do you really believe that Mark's going to stand on this? Do you really think he's not going to turn it around once we get him?
I don't believe that Mark had anything to do with it. So if you
listen, whether you want to claim it's because of your head injury, or financial issues, or someone attacked you and you defended yourself, which is probable. It is probable because you went down there and your family, friends. You've known Mark how long? 9th grade? That's a long time to know someone. So that means you love him like family, right?
Yeah.
You care a lot about him, okay?
Which is family.
You are his family. And I have that friend who is my family. They're damn near closer to me than some of my family. I would go talk to their wife for them. But, again, Spitfire, I could see her getting out of hand real quick. And that makes sense. That you would have to defend yourself. Especially, you can't afford to let yourself get hit in the head one more time.
Like I said, there's nothing else that I can tell you. So, you told me that if I decided that I was done talking, that I could do that. So...
Are you done?
I can't tell you anything else. I've told you everything that I could tell you.
Okay, so you're refusing to talk still, or do you want to explain yourself?
I'm not refusing to talk. I told you everything that I could tell you.
Okay. Just so I clarify then, why would your wife say you were out of town?
I don't have any idea.
Okay.
I told you I had a trip planned for that weekend. I didn't feel good.
And you stayed home?
I didn't go anywhere.
Okay. Is that where you want to leave it?
There's nowhere else for it to be left.
someone who's achieved such great things as you because, again, you just graduated at a top college. You've achieved these degrees. You became a father. You wrote code. Like, that's crazy impressive to me and you didn't just do it once and it got by. You continued to do these things. For someone who's that smart, the street smart part, I don't understand. It's not kicking in. Does it make sense to me? Like, I don't think you're dumb at all. That's why you're confusing the hell out of me right now. I think you're a good person. I made a bad choice. I don't know what you did exactly. I mean, only you know that. Mark, unless you told him the details, I don't know. But either way, it'll come out, and it'll be what it's going to be. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to provide your side of the story, especially if Mark's the one bullying you about it. But I understand your loyalty to Mark and rose before everybody. What's it about?
It's about what happened. So
what happened?
I don't know. I really don't.
Would you be willing to take a lie detector test?
Yeah, but I've already told you. I can't talk to you anymore. You told me.
You're confusing me now.
You told me that.
Yeah, you can stop anytime you want.
Like I needed to stop talking. Then it was time. I
keep re-engaging.
I don't think. I get details confused. I don't remember. I told you I have issues with my memory, and there's nothing else that I can tell you that's going to be helpful to you. So
how do you know that?
Because there's nothing else that I know, and you just made it very clear that you think that I had something to do with this, and that anything else that I say is just gonna or missay or whatever you want to call it.
Why don't we do this then? So. If you want to stop talking right now, we'll stop talking. However, I want to encourage you, if you change your mind, to seek me out. I'll give you my contact information, because when you're sitting down, you're laying your head down later on, wherever that is, I want you to understand something. You still have the opportunity to tell the truth. Okay? All right.
Though Curtis initially chooses to remain silent about the case and did not disclose any information, he was arrested in August 2015 due to overwhelming evidence pointing to his involvement in the murder. On January 6, 2016, 6 months after his arrest, as the reality of the situation began to sink in, Curtis finally decided to speak up about the horrific incident.
I guess it really started probably about 6 months before the crime. Mark had asked me, he brought it up in a way that it was like that somebody that he knew was having a problem with, and asked me if I knew anybody that, might be interested. I think he actually worded it like taken care of, but I think what he was really talking about was just having somebody beat up or something like that. Is at least that's what my impression of it was. When I was younger, I knew people that did that kind of thing. So, and Mark knows that. I think that was the reason that he asked me.
Mark was already under suspicion when the investigators observed him disposing of computer equipment in the trash behind their medical office. Initially, he had been cooperative and willingly handed over his cell phone. However, he later refused to do so, which raised further concerns. In December 2015, Mark Sievers was arrested and accused of planning Teresa's murder. The mounting evidence and Curtis's confession revealed that Mark's motive for committing this gruesome act was to obtain Teresa's insurance money. Additionally, another factor driving him to commit the crime was his fear that Teresa might gain custody of their children if they were to get divorced.
That morning I went by and picked up the meat on the way to the wedding, and somehow forgot a whole case of meat. So when we got to the wedding, when we started actually getting ready and they were setting up, we realized that we had missed that.
And the proprietor is your friend TK?
Yeah. His name's actually like Tahir or something like that. But he goes by TK. That's what everybody calls him. It's Indian, so people have trouble pronouncing his name. So straw that broke the camel's back. We talked about what was, he said that he couldn't let that happen. What he thought was options, and he came straight out and said that he wanted to have her killed. So he asked me if I would help him, if there was either help him do it or help him find somebody to do it.